recording?
Yeah, it's already recorded.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
cool. All right. Today we on my channel, but Mark has a topic that he wants to get to. So we'll let Mark go ahead and talk about that topic.
Okay. The topic is word association and danger of labels. And I think this conversation came up between us because I don't know if you want to say the reason, but it's
just
things.
Labels can mess up people's perception of you, even if they don't even know who you truly are. Like, just if you're saying that you're in a certain group or you're this certain word, and people think that defines literally everything about who you are. But there's so much more to who you are. And it's good to make a video like this so we can make sure that there's a clear, separations in like who we truly are.
Yeah. I think the issue with a lot of labels, in fact, let me ask, if you don't mind, Austin, what do you think about it?
I was associated with a label as known as Passport Bros, and I recently, when I was in Cambodia, so that was about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I had to disassociate myself because of behaviors that people were doing in other countries that were falling under the same label, and I refer to it as a football team, as whenever one player messes up, the team loses, not that specific person. And I'm not responsible for anybody else's actions but mine.
And therefore we should operate as individuals. The reason I have, and maybe you guys don't know me or Austin because it's his channel, but if you do, the reason I don't associate with Pan-Africanism or any of those ideologies is because while they may be good at their core, in the future they could be changed. And I was saying that when the definition of a thing is changed and you're that thing, then the definition of who you are changes too. And it's like what you said, you were associated with a whole group of people who were one way one day, one person did something, and now they're all this, but nobody else did it. And that's the danger of word association, is because you lose that sense of identity, which means you're quickly labeled as either good or bad depending on that group. If the group does great, then great. You're labeled as something amazing. But let's say one day the group does something not so good. All of you are like that now. And it's not a good thing, on anybody's part. The people who believe this way, it's not good, because they should be more understanding to individual differences, but labels are designed to quickly recognize a person, right? So I say take off all labels, just let your actions define how you are seen. But until we get there as a society, we gotta be very cautious of either the labels we associate with or just get rid of them altogether.
And we got to be less judgmental too, like, because even if somebody is saying that there's some type of label, it's like, are you really taking the time to get to know that person, or are you just judging them from what you think you know about that certain category that that person says they're in?
Yeah, but that's the thing though. They say they're in it. If you give that category all that power, you say, I'm a blank. Now you've just accepted responsibility for all of what that group is associated with. That's why I will not say I'm me. What I do is defined by me. It can be influenced or affected by outside forces, but at the end of the day, I make the final decision.
Well, I would like to say I think that's asking for too much, asking people to be less judgmental. That's not ever gonna happen in your lifetime.
Well, I mean, like, the thing is too though, if you just so quick to accuse somebody, like, this is one of the things is like, yeah, like, that's like me not saying, okay, if your name is Brian, then okay, all the Brians in the world, you shouldn't, that name, you should just say, I'm me. So when somebody comes to you and they ask me who you are, just say, I'm me. But really it should be like, no, like, you're not like all the other Brians, your name is just Brian. But what type of Brian are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, are you a Brian that's a good man, or are you just a Brian like the one or two bad Brians that we know on the planet? I'm just saying, for the stuff that we're doing, especially diaspora community, even when it comes to a certain community that you were speaking of, like overseas dating type of communities, the thing is that it's like we cannot, at least for our own sake, for our own people's sake, we cannot be too judgy like this. We have to work on that as a whole. Yeah, we shouldn't, yeah, I get the label thing, but as a whole, we should definitely be working on, not being as judgy.
But what you also got to realize, when we have this conversation, so I know And that's that people are only able to, in the majority of societies like this now, especially in Western culture, is they only listen in key words. You could tell them a 40-minute long video, and if you say that one trigger word, either trigger word or a keyword, even the way the internet and marketing works, it's all key words, because people are so short-minded that they don't actually have, and I'm not saying they're stupid, because that's not what it is. It's their focus is on that one key word, so they're looking for it. When you go on the camera and you say something like, you give a blanket statement, all these people are this way. Well, now they're triggered. Why? Because they're looking for reasons to be triggered, some of them. Some of them are triggered for a completely different set of reasons. Their own trauma, their own issues, you know, their own personal association with that word that you've just triggered in them, right? It's that fresh wound, and you just going like this to them, and you just happen to hit that one point. To them, it's like, ouch, right? People are only listening for trigger words. This is the food, by the way.
Oh, that's your food, huh?
You look.
Okay. Well, I get Mark's point. I definitely get Mark's point. And,
Hello?
I'm just saying, as a people though, we can't be that judgy because we only got so many of us out here. That's why that was my only extra 2 cents to add into that. Yeah, maybe labels not may always have the you know, the best meanings. You know, maybe there's different meanings in them, but we can't also be like too judgy. That's what I say as a people, just for look, man. So, I mean, I think we're pretty clear. I mean, did you have anything else to say, or do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I think going back to the topic of judgment, it depends on what you define judging as. Because some people's definition of judging, they don't think they're judging. They say no man is wrong in his own mind, right? So they don't believe, that's why they're doing it, because they don't think that's what they're doing. I believe they're just really, some people are just selfish.
I'm gonna be real. Some people gotta stop being so damn sensitive. Really, I don't know. Like, you know, at first when we was talking about like dropping the labels and stuff, like, you know, I really had said to myself, like, you know what, that is true. Like, we should be more, you know, like we should just be identifying as ourselves and things like that. But sometimes you want to claim exactly like who you are. You want to claim, you know, what you're doing. If one or two people is making a bad rep for a certain name, that shouldn't mean that, oh, I can't identify and say this is who I am and this is what I'm doing. Like, it should do. People just gotta stop being so sensitive and so soft, you know. And that's really, I'm going way up of the point, but I'm just thinking like, man, you know, people too damn sensitive in my opinion. Too sensitive, like, bro, like, why we gotta drop a label? Like, they're not asking the 83 genders that we got in America to drop their labels, so I don't want to back down from my label. You know, I'm happy to be a polygamist. I'm happy to be in this whole sphere of, like, you know, overseas dating. I do find the women out here more attractive, more feminine. I'm happy to be a diasporan. I do believe in working with my African people so I can go ahead and you know, build, you know, and to get somewhere, to leave a legacy long term. You know, I have no shame in my label. You know, it is what it is at the end of the day. You know,
labels are designed to limit you. You will only ever.
You can always go outside of the box.
Yeah, but I'm saying we should already step outside of the box.
But don't, just because we say a word doesn't mean that we're not stepping outside of the box though. Like,
you're right.
That's how I look at it,
to
at least.
There is a limit to it, the way I see it. But at the same time, it goes back to that sensitivity thing. People become sensitive when the label is peeled back, because that's their character. They've associated who they are with that label. So now, passport bros, for some people, is not, oh, I have this, you know, desire to go abroad. No, it's their personality. It's who they are. So when somebody says you can't be that, they're saying you can't be you. And that's why people become, sensitivity works in both directions.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's hard to detect, but that sensitivity will manifest as, what you mean? You know, and with the 80, and there are, what, if you Google it, 70 something genders. Did you already give it to them? Let me give it to them. Okay, but and just for the sake of fairness, even those labels, they have their downfalls. Some people call them straight up crazy.
Yeah.
True or
you
not,
know what? I actually
can't
do
tell them that they're wrong.
I actually
because they don't think they're wrong.
I do agree with what you're saying on an online point of view. I do get that. I think online most definitely, like, especially because online is clearly way more sensitive than regular physical, real world humanity. So we do have to be a little bit we got to be a little bit more sensitive to what we say online. So I do get that with dropping the labels and all that. I completely understand that part.
Ooh, today we have a
especially online. You know, this dude thinking about his meals, man. We hungry in this month, man. Huh?
I'm gonna do a live, y'all.
Sure, yeah. But we hungry, man. So, you know.
He ain't got no change.
Anyways, this is an interesting video, man. We out. You know,
He has a balance and take.
it's a very interesting video, man. I feel like